Okay, so thank you very much for being part of this conversation. So essentially what we would like to be talking to you about today is just to give an update on what's been happening from a Netball South Africa point of view. Okay, so the president will then take you through the 2020 netball calendar for NSA. We'll then touch on the SPA Proteas activities for 2020, the under 21 program, the Telkom Netball League as well, and then we'll then also touch on the 2023 Netball World Cup update. Madam President, how are you?
Nusi?
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, and you?
No complaints, thank you. Thank you so much for availing yourself. We've got a full house today. We've confirmed 18 media that have confirmed that they'll be attending. So the podium is yours, madam.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody. I hope it's a very good morning on the 1st of June, especially under the circumstances that we are in, under this pandemic that we call COVID-19. And some of us are really, victims of that and have recovered from that. However, I would love to believe that all of you, all the media houses that are here, are safe and at home and very sound, and your families are safe also. We decided as Netball South Africa that we do the media briefing because at the end of the day, it's all of you are calling me separately and they want to understand what's happening in netball. So as I have a PR manager who's working so hard, thank you, Nusi, and your team, to make sure that we tell South Africa what is happening in the country and what's going to happen after COVID-19 and after the announcement that the minister also made on Saturday when he was doing his announcement of how sport is going to run in the country. As Netball South Africa, we're going to focus on key areas that Nusi mentioned that we'll have to focus on. The Netball South Africa calendar. Obviously, we all know that it affected us. It's going to change, and it has changed. And I'm going to take you briefly into it on what's going to happen. We have a plan. We have a Back to Netball plan that we did as Netball South Africa that talks to all the netball people, what's going to happen in Netball South Africa in the coming months that we're facing in 2020. We're still hoping that some of the activities will play in 2020. We have to stay positive. We have to stay optimistic that everything that we want to do in the year will be done, even though we know that some of them are exactly not going to be done, and we have to accept it and move with the times and move with what the country wants. Because at the end of the day, what we must all think about is the life of the people. Yes, netball is important to us and we love it, but however, a life of a person cannot be replaced, but an activity, we can try and replace it or replay it when you have to. Then we decided that the calendar for this year would start when things go back to not normal. I don't want to use the word normal because nothing is going to go back to normal because we have missed months in this year. When we go back to netball, we want to say if we go back in the month of September, let me say, because I foresee us going back to level 1, even though the minister announced the contact sport that we are not allowed to host games or matches or whatever. However, we can train, but we want to be realistic as Netball South Africa. As we start the calendar, let me highlight this, that we're going to start it at national level. We're going to start first with the national teams. We're going to start with the SPA Proteas and the under-21s. And little do people know that the under-21s have a World Cup to play next year in June in Fiji, because as the board of INF, we decided that we are not going to change anything that is to do with 2021 Netball World Cup, because we're hoping and praying that by that time, it will be done in a way that we would have Netball South Africa being part of the 2021 World Cup qualifiers, team that would have qualified to go to the World Cup. The other thing that I want to talk about is we will have the following for the Netball South Africa calendar. We are anticipating on having the Diamond Challenge. We are anticipating on having the Diamond Challenge. We are anticipating on having the Spa Champs. We are anticipating on having TNL, and we are anticipating on having male championships. We have to be honest, the under-19 champs is gone. That we were going to make history in this year because we were going to move with the schools netball. We were going to have the under-17, 18, and 19 in one tournament that was to be hosted in Pretoria. So we have to be realistic and be at peace with it to say that tournament will never take place in this year. But those are the tournaments that we are hoping that we would host as Netball South Africa. We want the Spa Proteas to play in this year. And the only way that we can get them to play is by doing the Diamond Challenge. That's the least that we could do, the Diamond Challenge for the Spa Proteas. We all know that we had to play a Four Nations tournament that we play against Australia, New Zealand, and England that we played in January in this year. And we have decided as the countries that are playing that tournament to say that we have to be realistic. The games will never take place in this year. However, we were hoping that the girls will play that, but we decided as the 4 countries that it will never take place. The other one that we anticipated on was the Diamond Challenge for the Spa Proteas. We want to play the Diamond Challenge. We will invite 2 to 3 countries to come into the country. We will invite 2 to 3 countries to come into the country to make sure that we play the Diamond Challenge. We give the Proteas a chance to play because we owe it to our sponsors. We owe it to our partners that we play this tournament with them. The other one that I think I should touch base on is the under 21 Africa qualifiers. As INF, we took a resolution and a decision that we are not going to play the Africa qualifiers this year. We are going to use the senior rankings of teams to qualify for the under 21 World Cup that will be hosted in Fiji next year. So it will be done, and IMF in this week or next week, they will announce which teams qualify to go and play for the under 21 World Cup in Fiji. I'm certain that South Africa has qualified because we are number 5 in the world. So that automatically gives us a qualification to go and play the under 21s World Champs in Fiji. And that puts a smile on my face because I wouldn't have known what would have happened in Uganda when the girls were playing. Because what I would tell you in netball is those countries that are strong in senior level, not all of them are strong at under 21. So you might find new surprises that other countries that are so weak in senior level are very strong at the junior level. But anyway, with South Africa, I'm positive we are strong, whether it's junior or senior. We are the country to reckon with in this continent. So I'm fine with our baby Proteas that they will be playing they will be playing the under 21 World Champs. We will have training camps, obviously, when we reach level 1, because we have to meet all the necessary precautions that we need to do. Yes, we are going to write a letter to the minister within the 14 days as netball, because we want to start moving, we want to start preparing, especially the SPA Proteas. As I said, it will start nationally, go provincially, go district-wise, and go locally. So as we can know that how do we help our members in making sure that they adhere to all the necessary precautions and measures of the lockdown that is here in the country. We don't want to step on anybody's foot, and we don't want to be on the right side of the wrong side of government. We always want to be on the right side because they are our people that are, carrying us through the 2023 Netball World Cup. So we will do things as time goes on and as it's deemed necessary by the government to do it. And as I'm talking about that, we are also going to talk about something that is on your plate, which is the TNL. The Telkom Netball League will take place this year. That one I can guarantee you, it will take place this year. It will take place between September and October, or within November and December in this year. We're still going to sit with Telkom and see what we can do and which month suits us most, because we also have to look at most of our players that play Telkom are university players, and some of them are working. So we have to look at that, because people will have just gone back to work, and they will be needed, but we would have to look at that. But Telkom League in this year, we will play. No matter what, come rain or shine, storm, Telkom League will play this year. We also have the SA Spa Championships. It will definitely play in this year. We are going to play it. We still have to identify. We already had identified that it will play in Cape Town, but we are looking at how much the rate of COVID-19 is going on in Cape Town and how the numbers are increasing. So we're being very much cautious about that. And we're saying we're looking into that. If possible, we'll have to move it to another province. However, the thing is, it will play, the Spa Champs will play in this year. We also have the male champs that we say will play in this year. We're hoping that all our members are preparing their teams as we're talking like this, to say that the players are preparing themselves, because members, let me correct myself, the members cannot prepare the teams, because we haven't yet opened anyone for training, for doing all those things, because we also have to adhere to all the precautions of, if you go to training, have you met certain standards that you have to meet to go to training, to make sure that you don't spread the disease, but however, and we don't put our players, our officials, our umpires, our coaches, our everybody that's there at risk. And we don't even know that whenever we're going to play, we will really have spectators allowed or spectators not allowed. Whether spectators are allowed or not allowed, the most prestigious event of Netball South Africa, which is TNL, will play in this year. With or without spectators, it will play. And when we are looking at all these activities, we want to be very mindful and very cautious as Netball South Africa to say, we are looking at the lives of our players and the well-being of our players. Some of these players will play the World Championships in 2021. So we have to be very careful about that. Some of these players will represent South Africa in 2023. And we want to make sure that they are healthy, they are well, and they are ready to go. And I want to believe that the players, wherever they are actually training on their own and following the programs that the coaches have given them. Because I'm aware that if you are part of the TNL squads that have been identified in various provinces, we have worked with the national coach that the program that is a standardized program should go out to all 9 provinces to make sure that we keep the players fit and we follow them and know what they're doing. So a bit of update on 2023. You all know that I went to England in January, and that's how I contracted my coronavirus thing. And since from then I've recovered, and we have been holding meetings with INF. Yes, Netball South Africa will still be hosting 2023. We're busy with government right now right now have advertised the position of the project manager for 2023. And we are about to interview people to make sure that we appoint the person and move on. And an LOC will be formed as soon as we are done with the project manager. We will have an LOC formed, and other committees that have to be there are already now starting to take shape of what is happening. So as when we start, that when the government opens up everything, we are not held back, and we are not held back because of we didn't do things and said it's COVID-19. We're working now visually. We're doing things visually. We're having meetings visually. Last week we had a meeting with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture at national level, with the DG heading the meeting seeing the gaps that we had and where are we going from there. And it was a very successful meeting, which I would love to be proud of that meeting took place. And 2023, yes, it's in the box and we are moving and we are there. We want to host the most magnificent African magical Netball World Cup in the country. With those few words, let me thank you for giving me your time and listening to me. Thank you, Nusi. Back to you.
Thank you, Madam President. So we will take a few questions. So I'll take Busi first because she had raised her hand to ask the first question. And then I will then take 3 questions at a time. So Busi, you go first.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Good day, Madam President. I had a few questions, but for now, I'll just ask one. Okay. You spoke about the Diamond Challenge later this year. Have you guys identified the countries that you would like to play against? If you have you guys started a conversation with them on playing the Diamond Challenge?
Yes, Busi, we have identified the countries that we invited already in February before we were hit by the lockdown. We already had talked to Malawi, which we were still awaiting the response. We have talked to Jamaica, which they were very positive by then. After COVID-19, we're still going back to them because we've told our events manager in the office, Portia Dimu, to go back to those countries. And we have also identified Swaziland because we wanted to bring a new country that has not played in some years to come in. And Namibia and Botswana were also interested in coming to the Diamond Challenge. So Portia is busy with that now, trying to follow them up on, we are having the Diamond Challenge. We want to have it. That's why we said 2 or 3 countries, because we don't know what is the state in their countries. Will they allow them to fly into the country? Yes or not? Or those that will be driving, will we opt for those that are driving, or those that are flying will be controlled by what is happening in the country? We cannot run away from the situation that is in the country, but our wish is to have, as I said, those countries that we have already identified, we would love to have those countries, especially Jamaica, because they are ranked higher than us. And you know, when you play a country that is ranked higher than you, your rankings in INF improve. So that's the country that we targeted, and we wanted them because they beat us at the 4 Nations, and we wanted to see if we cannot go back and beat them like we did at the World Champs.
Okay, so in this order, I will take Mbalis Giti, I will take Letabo Khanyaho, as well as Vuyo Makoba and Tolagele Mganga. Mbali?
Thank you so much, Nusi.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Nusi. And thank you so much, Madam President, for hosting this presser. I just wanted to find out, you've got all these plans, you know, for netball, the Diamond League, and, you know, you're still pressing ahead with even the events that will be taking place next year. I wanted to find out, in terms of other sporting codes, you know, they spoke about some of the, you know, the measures that they will be putting in place to ensure player safety. Have you been in talks, or have you started discussing some of the testing processes, or how will you be protecting your players in terms of COVID-19 and it's being a contact sport? Thank you.
You know, it's like we are parents here. There is no way that we would let our players go out and play without taking necessary precaution measures. We are doing that. That's why we're starting it nationally. So as we are sure of what we are doing. Why we did that, it was a simple reason of, we want to monitor it from national until local. Because if we can just say everybody opens up at that time, we will have a problem. So we want to monitor it from national and then go provincial, go district, and then go locally. What we have done is, today we are going to write a letter. After the minister's announcement, I've directed the director of demarcations to write a letter to all the provinces to say that what are the precaution measures that they are taking in their provinces to make sure that when we go back on court, we are sure of the safety of our players, because at the end of the day, these players, we have to be able to make sure that they are safe where they are. I mean, we have to, if they're in a stadium, we have to make sure that the stadium is sanitized, They've got mask on. There's the health people there to screen them. You know, there's all the things that are needed that they can be there and play. And if there's a player that is sick, do we have a quarantine room there that we can quarantine the player and separate the player out of all other players? What do we do? We cannot do it in the whole of South Africa. We have to be realistic. We can only do it in phases. And in those phases, that's why we're saying we'll start at national, because we want to host your Diamond Challenge. We want to host your TNL. We want to host your Spa Champs and your Male Champs. So we'll have to start it at national, and then we go to the district, and then, you know, we go down to local level. So yes, we are very much cautious of our players' well-being and health, and we will take necessary precautions, and we will make sure that wherever they go and train, the places they train it adheres to the rules of, you know, us training, not making sure that we break the rules, because as I said, we don't want to break the rules. We want to stay by the rules of this country.
Thanks, Madam President. Letabo?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam President. It's good to see you well and healthy. My question is definitely sort of a follow-up on what you're saying about how you're going to phase in, you know, the game back on starting at national level, but then more on if the TNL, we know it's played by the provincial teams and everything. How many of these teams have medical teams that are strong? You know, or is this something that now the COVID-19 has brought to your attention, the importance of all of the teams having to have medical teams? And also in the light that most of these teams yearly, say for example Limpopo, every year they sort of choose a new team. Then what happens in the process of now the selections of the provincial teams for the TNL? Is it a matter of now the squads would have to rely on what they had last year, or what is going to be the protocol on that?
Yes, Letabo. We are going to, let me start with your TNL issue. The teams have already been selected. They were selected before we had COVID-19. So every province has teams. They've got management teams that they've given us. It's for us to ratify the teams. We have ratified the coaches and the assistant coaches of the teams and the statisticians and the medical people. Yeah, I like it because in netball, the protocol of a game, you must have a medical person there. So there's no way that you can play a netball match without a medical person, whether a medical doctor or a physio person. And I want to say, I would thank our provinces, because when we come to preparing the TNL teams, we have the issue of the academies that are helping us in preparing the teams to be the best they can be in performing at the TNL. So the academies, usually they help us with the medical, you know, section of the TNL. So we are medically, I think we are ready. We are ready because we've got, you cannot send a TNL team without a physio, a medical person. And as Netball South Africa, we also have our own medical team. So we'll make sure that we enforce teams that now, especially that now we have COVID-19, you don't have to bring only a physio, but we also have to bring a medical person inside to make sure that we have to cover that cost and cover that thing to say we have extra medical people on site. We've got extra medical people with the teams to make sure that our players are safe, because at the end of the day, it's about the safety of the players.
Thanks, Madam President. I just need to highlight that if we get cut off, I'm going to try and connect us again, because I'm seeing a timer here. So if we do get cut off, we'll then come back to the call. Vuyo, you up next.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think my question is just around the 2023 World Cup. You know, now that we in this period of sort of June, we are remembering the sort of the 2010 World Cup soccer. But one of the things that I'm picking up with so many people that I'm having a conversation with that we're preparing for it, they're speaking about how quickly immediately when we got the announcement that we're going to be, hosting it, the preparation started immediately. And I just want to know, in regards to, we may look at the time and say 2023 is far, but in terms of the early preparations for it, how much has this coronavirus or this pandemic sort of affected the early stages of our preparations to make sure that we host the first and sort of the greatest African netball tournament that here. How much has this affected the early stages of our preparations for it? I know you've already mentioned that the LOC is still going to be formed, but I'm sensing that the preparations would have already started if the pandemic was not here. Maybe an LOC would have already been formed. So how much has this period has really affected, the early stages of our preparations for 2023? How much has that set us back?
Vuyo, as I was saying, yes, COVID-19 has affected us, especially in preparing the LOC for 2023, because it should have been formed by now. And when you look at other things that should have been done, it should be done. They are not done already, but we are hoping that at the end of the COVID-19, whatever things that we have to do, we shall be done at the time, because we are not sitting and doing nothing. We're having visual meetings where we can. Last week, Friday, as I said, we had a meeting with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, led by the DG, making sure that we look at how far are we and where we're going and how can we make this, more productive and more functional, even though we are under the circumstance whereby it's not business as usual. So we are on track with 2023. Even INF is happy, and even all the things that we need to do with INF as Netball South Africa and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, nationally, we are on track with that. We are not missing any deadline of any payment or anything. We are just being where we should be.
Okay, thank you for that. Anshan, Tolagela, you'll then go after Anshan now, right? Anshan,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Cecilia, just give us a bit more details regarding proposed dates that you are planning now. So you're saying the Diamond Challenge will begin first. So will that be in August? And that will be followed by TNL, you said, in September, if it's possible.
Anshan, I said the Diamond Challenge will play. I never said it will play first. We are having dates that are proposed. We have 2 dates for the SA Spa Champs, whether they will play in August, where they should play, or they will play in December. We've got another date for TNL. We've got September and October for TNL, or November and December in TNL. So we've got dates like that. We've got the male champs, which are in September, and we're hoping that we'll play them in September. We've got I think those are the dates that are key to you that I've mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Just repeat this.
Go on, Anshan.
Sorry, just repeat the Spa Championships. What date will that be, more or less?
We cannot guarantee the date, but the month we can. We're saying August or December. So we look at how the pandemic is spreading, especially that we were going to host it in Cape Town. And the most heated province right now in the country is Cape Town. So we have to look at whether we're going to Cape Town or we are going to go to another province, which is less hot spot, that we can take in consideration the health and the well-being of all our people that are involved in making sure that the Spa Champs are there. So whether it will be in August or in December, but I think if it's in December, our December is going to be very packed, and we will have to do it, because at the end of the day, we have got sponsors in Anshan that we have to please, and we have to adhere to the contract of the sponsors, even though it's not business as usual.
Okay, thanks, Madam President. Tolagela. Hi, Tolagela.
Morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to know, I know the minister on Saturday, when they were explaining that all athletes can now return to training, but the ones that are in hotspot areas, there's some sort of confusion if they can return to training. We know they can't play games. So in terms of your planning for the Diamond League and all the events later in the year, how is that going to be affected? Are you going to be able to move the players to some sort of training camp in order to protect them? And also my second question is, in terms of getting back to actually playing games, we know that in England and with the rugby teams in South Africa, they have said that testing is going to happen twice a week in order to ensure that players are constantly kept safe. So how much would it cost for Netball South Africa to be partaking in these tests twice a week to protect the players and ensure their health and safety?
Lucy, I've lost the other part because I couldn't hear her. I don't know if some of you heard it. I just heard the part of England rugby, and after that, what was she saying? So as I can answer the whole question.
Okay, so
I can ask again.
Please do.
Okay, I just wanted to know, in terms of the hotspot areas, the sports minister and the DG had said that players that are in hotspot areas might not be able to move to non-hotspot areas in order not to spread COVID-19. So how would that affect in terms of your planning for training camps and any tournaments that will take place? And also, how much would Netball South Africa have to put aside for the twice a week testing for the COVID-19? Because in England and with rugby, we've seen how they're saying that's the only way to make sure that none of their players are catching COVID. In order to, they need to test them twice a week.
Let me say, we agree with the minister, 100%. We are not going to move players from one area to the other without making sure that the precautions, the necessary precautions are taken. That's why we are moving these events of ours, if you can look, at level 1. Because we are not anticipating at playing any event in any of these levels, whether it's a level 3 or it's level 2. We are anticipating that we will play all the games in level 1, whereby it's a bit settled and we can do things and we have the muscles and the capacity to make sure that we do that. Remember, we still have to go back and plan after the minister have talked. We just made this press conference before the minister talked, and then we had to adhere to this one. We still go back as an executive to talk on what is the way forward to make sure that we adhere to all these rules. What do we do? How do we make sure that our players are being tested? And when will they be tested? How will they be tested? Who will be testing them? So those are the things that we will be looking at, working with provinces, especially when it comes to TNL, because we cannot do it at national. We will be so much, depending on our provincial structures to make sure, in the provincial departments of sports, arts and culture, to make sure that in the provincial academics, to make sure that whatever we are trying to do, we are all safe and everybody within the fraternity of netball is safe and we adhere to the precautions. Money-wise, budget-wise, truly speaking, I'm not going to lie to you, we didn't budget for that. All of us never foresaw this thing coming. We never saw this thing coming. All that we have budgeted for and the sponsors have given us is what we normally use, but we have to go back to the drawing board as usual. We have to go back to the drawing board to make sure that we cover those things and we make sure that whatever we do is done at the best interest of the players and to keep the players safe.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I will take Kuliso and Rachel.
Thanks, Nasi. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Madam President, mine is not too different from what Voyo asked before we got cut. But maybe I just want to bring it back to what we need to do immediately now before we start focusing on the World Cup. We've seen that over the past couple of years with the Quad Series and obviously the World Cup last year, the Spa Proteas gained so much momentum. Can she not hear me?
No, she can hear you.
Guess not?
Yeah.
Oh, she says she can't.
No, I can't. Can he start again?
Okay.
Oh,
sorry.
okay, good. Madam President, I was saying, over the past couple of years, the sport protests have gained so much momentum and attention from the rest of South Africa. And obviously that is something that as Netball South Africa, you were betting on, knowing that if that momentum, the attention carries through over this year and the next couple of years, it will help a great deal when it comes to hosting the World Cup. But now you've lost so much time now and probably money that you had not budgeted for, as you've just alluded to. Wanting to play the games before the end of this year, is that a desperation to make up for the time and probably the money that you've lost during this COVID-19 time?
Definitely not desperation. We are not desperate. We want to keep our players playing. That's the main thing. You must give a players an urge to want to do something. And the only thing that keeps players training and doing something is because of they're looking forward to play TNL. Some of them are looking, those who didn't make TNL are looking forward to play the champs. And the Spar Proteas, as I said, we have an obligation towards our partners, our sponsors, that we should play. And we want them to play to keep the momentum going, as you said. Because if they don't play, they'll lose the momentum. Remember, we had to play the 4 nations that was going to play in Australia and New Zealand in September. And it's not going to play. So we cannot say because of it, that is not going to play, we're going to leave them not to play anything in this year. We want to keep that momentum going. And the only way to keep a momentum going, it's by players playing. Because if they don't play, they will never get, used to the physicalness of the game and the contact that is being, that we are in a contact sport now, and a very physical game that we are playing in, the intensity. And, game time and court time and training time are different things. So they must have that game time. They must understand that they have it. And to build towards 2023, we cannot not say the year 2020 is gone and we're letting it go like that. No, we are not. We're refusing. We're saying that with the few months that are left, we will do something to make sure that we give our players an edge and a motivation to play and want to belong to netball. And we want you guys to know that netball is here and we're building towards 2023. We cannot say when we are building, we're quitting now. We are not going to do that because of the age gone, because of COVID-19. COVID-19 is something that is coming and it shall pass, and other things have passed, and we have to be positive and say we shall overcome.
Thank you very much. Rachel, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Madam President. Just a question, or just to get a reaction regarding the rankings that were released last week. Remaining in 5th position, we've been in that position for a number of years now, and we don't seem to be going up, but we're not going down either. What's your reaction to that?
Rachel, I want to say to you, I personally, I'm not happy as a leader that we've been in one position for so many years and we cannot seem to break through these countries. The main reason for us to want to play the Quad Series, which is now called the 4 Nations, was that we break into that top 4, top 3 of this world. And for us to do that, the rankings is about how many games do you play and how many games do you play against people that are ranking above you. So we were positive that we are breaking through as we won Jamaica and we once beat England last year. And for us not to play the 4 Nations that is coming, it's not going to go well with us because of it's a ranking that I think the team, I know that the team would have performed better and would have done something better to improve our rankings. Because I think also they want to improve their rankings. They want to see themselves in the top 3 of this world or top 2. What do we have to lose in doing that? We still have to work hard, Rachel. We're working with countries that have got a professional league. We have to take that into consideration. We're playing against countries that play, professional league. I mean, I think 12 players of Jamaica are all in England, Australia, and New Zealand playing there. We only have 8 players from this country playing overseas. And that 4 that is not playing, it makes a difference in the team that you want to play against a team that plays a professional league, that wakes up in the morning and play netball like that. Hence, our goal as Netball South Africa is to turn netball professional. So as when we talk, we don't have excuses. I hate excuses. I want us to do things and let us be doers, not complainers. And I think by being doers, it's about us making sure that we have a professional league that we play, and then we can improve on our rankings. And the more international games we play, the more we can improve on our rankings. Playing 2-3 international games a year, it's not going to help us. Look at the Consolation Cup that England, that Australia and England and New Zealand, I mean, they're playing. I mean, they said no matter how come what may, they will play the Consolation Cup. Why don't we have a cup like that playing against England? Why don't we have a cup like that playing against, Jamaica that are ranking above us, so as our rankings can improve? I'm not happy, and I hope that we'll do better in the future after we have a professional league in this country, because I cannot sing something that I know it will never be possible if we don't have a professional league.
Thanks, madam. Okay, Anshan, and then followed by Letabo and Vuyo, in that order. Okay, I just need to. Anshan, you're on mute.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, Cecilia, one last question. Do you foresee the TNL played in one venue or more than one city?
A very good question, Anshin, which also takes us back to the drawing board to say, initially we were going to play in 3 provinces. And 2 of the provinces that we are going to play with are 2 of the hotspots, Western Cape and KZN. We have to be realistic. We cannot play this in many provinces. We are going to go back into playing into one province. We have to be realistic. Play in one province where it's not hotspot. And we have to look at that, because we need to, safeguard the life of our players and our officials and everybody who's involved in TNL. So definitely it will be one province.
Thank you.
Madam President, 2 last questions from me. When you spoke about the Diamond Challenge, you definitely also touched on having the Spar Proteas playing tougher opposition. Would the countries that have been earmarked to come compete in the Diamond League, their COVID-19 cases be a factor to consider before finalizing them? And would that also go for the under-21 camp as well? And then the last question from me is that you did also say that much as you are anticipating that netball will go back to court under level 1, but you're going to write the letter to the minister to have training resume. Will that be only considerate of the national teams?
Definitely, Letabo. It will be the national teams. When we're talking about going back, as I said, we're going to start nationally. We are not going to do this because we want to do it at local level. Let me just put it this way. Local people like me who is in Molokwane, relax. For now, if you want to play netball, just relax, just chill, just stay at home and be safe. What we are interested in right now is the national level, because we have to make sure that whatever we do at national, we cascade it provincially, and we go to the district, and then we go locally. So if we can say we're opening it up for everybody, it will be chaos if we are not ready. We have to be ready first as Netball South Africa to do that. The first question you asked, Letabo, yes, you are correct, and I cannot even expand further from what you have just said.
Thank you. Vuyo? Mbali, you are noted.
Yeah. I think my question again is on maybe not going into too much detail, but letting us in on sort of the preparations that our coaches Dorette and Dumsani are having at this moment in sort of around the national team, of course, because I'm sensing that come 2023, we're going to have a sort of new and fresh and dynamic team that's going to represent South Africa. Coach Dorette and Dumsani have sort of adopted a team, sort of, or maybe Coach Noma Plummer's team, and right now would be a starting point where they sort of build up their team, going around doing small, sort of doing camps and finding new and dynamic players, going to varsities with all these tournaments that are around. Just letting us in those preparations, because I'm sensing that you are also having a chat with them and they have to update you, of course. What are their preparations around the, just that? And of course, just how they are communicating with sort of the university coaches, because that's another sense that, you know, our team is going to be made up of sort of many of the players who are first year right now. And I mean, I was speaking to Coach Zanele Mdotana, who's speaking about just she's going to be having a new team whenever everything resumes, and those are the first year players. And I think for sort of those are the players that will then go on and, you know, be the players that represent us in 2023. What is also their conversations with the sort of the varsity teams and how they should be training their players, which, you know, the programs, are they sending down programs to the varsity teams? Just, yeah, letting us in the conversations that you're having with Coach Dorette and Dumisani on the way to 2023 with sort of fresh and dynamic young players who now will sort of be first year players at varsity.
You know, I'm smiling for you because I see you want a new, fresh, dynamic team. You're just not saying it to me, you know, like that. You say, President, we want a new, fresh, dynamic team. You see, I don't want to be too involved into coaching. I need to know my stand as a leader. I want to leave coaching to coaches. And I want to leave choosing of teams and the dynamic teams you're talking about to coaches. What I know that I've been informed about, because the two coaches talk to me regularly, because they need to update me, as you said, of what is happening. So as I'm not left in the dark, but I'm in the loop and understand what is happening. As I said, when I was talking, I said they have made a program that they've sent to all the 9 provinces to make sure that the TNL teams are at the standard that they are looking for. Remember, they're the people that are going to select from these TNL teams. I believe that whatever they did at TNL, they do that even at varsity level to make sure that they have a program that these players follow that will help them in making sure that when they select a team, they would. It's unfortunate that we're in COVID-19, because we were going to have trials in April. Nusi, I stand to be corrected, but I think we were going to have trials in April for the SPAR Proteas, for them to go and see other talent that they want to bring in and to make sure that they introduce bit by bit new players into the system, because you just cannot take somebody and just throw them into the deep. You need to introduce players bit by bit. Like we introduced a new player by Lefebvre, by the name of Lefebvre. So we need more of Lefebvres to be introduced. So there were going to be trials. Unfortunately, COVID-19 hit us and then we couldn't do that. But I know they're hands-on. They're talking to the SPAR Proteas. Actually, they're not only talking to the SPAR Proteas, they're talking to the squad of 60 players that were selected, with inclusion of the SPAR Proteas that were selected last year at the SA SPAR teams.
Okay, Mbali?
Thank you so much again. Sorry, I just rejoined, so please forgive me if I'm asking something that has already been answered. Okay. I wanted to ask, Mama, you've spoken about all these plans. You've spoken in great lengths about planning ahead, everything. And my question then is, if things don't go according to plan, do you have a contingency plan? Do you have a backup plan? Because we know that you're anticipating certain things when we reach level 1, 10 are still going to happen. There's a lot of things that are still being planned, but we're not sure in terms of the country if we're still going to be hit with the second wave of this pandemic as they ease down restrictions. Things obviously might get worse. If things don't go according to plan, do you have a contingency plan? And secondly, if games are being played behind closed doors, what is the role of the media now? In terms of, are we allowed? Media safety, what are the requirements in terms of us as journalists who will be covering games, or will there be restrictions for us in terms of covering games? Thank you so much.
Bali, I want you to believe that everybody has got I always say, if you attend my media briefings, I always say there's a plan A, B, and C. There's always have to be a plan A, B, and C. If plan A is not going to work, we're going to have a plan B. If a plan B is not going to work, we're going to have a plan C. So let's take it. But I want to start by saying, Bali, let me and you and everybody who's in this press conference pray hard that we are not hit by a second wave, and pray hard that we gradually go back to normal under abnormal circumstances. We want to be positive. I'm a positive person by nature. I want to be positive that we are going to remember the first plan was the ones that we had to play champs in August, we had to play TNL in May, and that didn't happen. Then we had to move to plan B. Then we're going to move to plan C if that doesn't happen. If that doesn't happen, we'll have to sit down again and we have actually sat down and said we're going to prioritize this. This is what we are going to play at that time, at that moment, if this is not working. Because if spectators are not allowed, obviously I heard the minister well. I don't think I didn't hear him well. I heard him well when he says, your super sport, your media houses will be allowed, because they know that people need to watch the games, people need to know about the games. You will be allowed in, as I heard the minister say, to cover the games for us, because without you, how do we go and convince people that netball is there in 2023? It's here. We have to have media. There is no way that we cannot have media. Media is our everything, actually. You can be better than us in promoting the sport. Actually, you're doing it better than us in promoting us as netball. That's why we are where we are at now, because of you guys. And if it means that we have to come with other federations and say to the minister, we have to let the media in, we will do that, because we know the value of media in this country.
Will you have limited numbers though?
Nusi, that will be for you.
Yes.
That will
will you have limited numbers?
I think, Mbali, I think the how many will be determined by, what the restrictions are from the ministry side. So I think once all of that has been cleared out, we'll be in a better position to say how many people are allowed per game or per day to cover all of these tournaments. Okay, Khuliso, you up next.
Thank you so much, Nusi. Appreciate it. Madam President, just 2 more questions from me. In the next 3 years, before the World Cup, obviously, because I heard you speaking about the sport being professional, and I'm sure that is part of the long-term plan. Are you able to say for the next 3 years you can sort of like focus on both making the sport professional in the country as well as producing a good World Cup product, or are you just going to focus on getting us the best possible Spa Proteas team that can compete in the World Cup and probably win it here at home, and then maybe the sport becoming professional can be something, a child of the World Cup, so to say, depending on whatever money you make from that. My second question is, we know that you're not going to be Netball South Africa President lifetime. I want to know from your personal point of view, I know we've got a World Cup coming in a couple of years, but what would you like to be your legacy within netball in South Africa?
Look, the World Cup, when we talk about the legacy, you've touched something that I would love to really talk about. Actually, you talked about my legacy when you touched about the professionalism of netball. If I can see netball being professionalized in this country, that players wake up in the morning, go to a netball court, do what they love most, and be rewarded for doing what they love most, that would be the legacy that I would leave in this country. And that I would be very much pleased to say something in my tenure, this is what happened. And I would be very happy to say You know, at least we did not only host a magnificent medical World Cup, but we also turned netball professional. I want to say something to you. It's very easy. You don't want to host a world-class tournament and never have a team that is performing. So to me, these things go hand in hand. If we want to host a World Cup that is magnificent, that everybody will talk about, the team has to perform. To me, it's not a must, or it's not a must, it's a shall. The team shall perform. That Spapotia team shall perform. It has to perform. Because if we are going to host a World Cup, and imagine not even going to the quarterfinals, how will that feel for the country? It's not good. We must go to the quarterfinal and go to the podium to get a medal. I don't even know what kind of a medal we should get, but they must know that we're going to get a medal. We cannot host and go out before we, go out at the quarterfinals. We cannot do that. So performance and the hosting of the events, to me, same WhatsApp group. So they have to be the same thing. So we tend to want to host this beautiful thing, but forget about the team. So making the team perform, we must also make sure that it turns professional. Netball turns professional. Because if we focus on one thing and not focus on the other, we are not going to have that thing that I'm saying. It should be 50-50, good performance and a good event. So it should be 50-50. Good performance versus good event. And then that's where we are at.
Okay, so thank you very much to all of you for allowing us the time to be with you. We'll see you again in the next 2 weeks. I'll then be communicating with you in terms of where to from here. We will make this recording available and we'll have a press release sent out shortly as well. Thank you very much.
Many thanks.